What is up, everybody? It is StickinRink podcast. We are back. We are the original crew. It's me and Josh today. StickinRink podcast, also known as a hockey podcast, also known as just one of the best sports and entertainment brands in all of the internet, everywhere of history. Let's say that. Before I even acknowledge Josh and the missing one in the room, I'm going to mention that DraftKings is a massive supporter of StickinRink podcast. Thank you to DraftKings.com, the leading daily fantasy site in the whole world. And I love using it. I've been using it now for months, ever since they supported us. And we have a promo code, as you can see on the screen. It's THPN. So anytime that you are signing up as a new user on DraftKings, you can use our promo code THPN. That gets you a free, what am I going to call it? A free entry based on your first $5 deposit. So that's a pretty sweet little incentive you got there. And some of the suggestions that I got for you is, let's dive into it. Now, we're going to talk some Canucks in this episode. We're going to spin some things about the Canucks. Now, what you can do if you're a Canucks fan and you're sitting here saying, shit, I think they're done. Now, side note, that's a little negative of you. But what you could do is you can still bet on the Canucks. The players, if you don't trust the team to win, you can still bet on which players are going to succeed. You can make a DraftKings lineup stacked with some steals in the Canucks. You can throw in a little Cole Lind if you think he's going to pot a first goal. That's a real hot pick, spicy pick right there. I truly think that if you're a betting person, whether it's daily fantasy or game line picks, that when a team is almost officially eliminated from the race, that's kind of the best time to choose them. That's when you're going to get good odds. That's when a player is going to have a low salary that you can easily capitalize on. So if you're thinking like I am, if you're a genius level person, then take your talents over to DraftKings.com. Once again, using the promo code THPN at sign up. There are eligibility restrictions. That is the case with gambling. Open your eyes if you didn't know that. And they do apply, and they are written some more at DraftKings.com. So check them out. Minimum $5 deposit is required for our promo code. Other than that, that was an ad read, people. That's my masterclass on how to do that. But other than that, I'm going to welcome my friend Josh onto the show. Longtime friend Josh, how you doing?
Big easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing amazing. My face is red because sunscreen is not in my vocabulary. But I'm ready. I'm ready to go. It hurts to be surprised. When I raise my eyebrows, it hurts my forehead. So that's nice. Yeah, nice. Like I actually can't do that. It actually kind of hurts. I was up at 6 a.m. today. 6:30, 6:45. Watching F1. Getting the Portuguese Grand Prix in. Mm-hmm. Went golfing. Life is good. What's new with you, pal?
Hell yeah, man. What happened today? Well, I returned from camping. I was camping Friday and Saturday night.
Where were you?
So we were my girlfriend's family was camping up in Fort Langley. It actually is not far at all. So I never thought I would be camping that close to that. Sounds like camping in Surrey, like just straight up pulling into a forest and just throwing up the trailer. But but it was actually like so far out of my entire life, I would say it had to at least be top 5 campgrounds or top 10 at least campgrounds I've been to. It was sick. It was right. So if you go into Fort Langley, have you been there before?
I've golfed there, but I've never been. Well, okay. I've driven.
Have you been to the town? You've been to the town.
I think.
Yeah, it's a very small town. But if you go over the bridge that's at the end of the town, mm-hmm. over the little channel that is connected to the Fraser River, if you go over that, literally immediate left, there's a campground right there. It shares a beach with the river, the little channel there. We don't need that, but it's like a decently wooded area, very well set up. You got a little poop chute for the sewage line if you need it. It's great, dude. It's great. Had a good time. So I smell like campfire. I returned. Other than that, man, I'm doing all right. It's a sunny day and it wasn't supposed to.
Love that. My question for you is, you said it was a really good campground. What are certain things that you look for in a campground that actually make you think, huh, this place is okay.
Yeah. I need trees. Like I don't like a paved paradise. Now,
No,
to
not an
quickly sum
RV
it
park.
not an RV park. To quickly sum it up, I never, just like Josh will say about himself too, I never grew up as like a trailer or an RV person. That was not my family's thing. We are a tenting family. But as I got into this relationship and I've been camping with my girlfriend's family a lot more, they are a trailer family. And I used to shit on it. Like I used to like just give them the old Kardashian treatment. Like you guys are just literally made of 10-ply toilet paper. But I am a convert, Josh. I love the trailer lifestyle now. Like I can't hate on it anymore, dude. I do it multiple times a year, probably 5 to 6 times a year. I'm out there at the trailer and like I fucking love it, dude. So back to the question, what you were talking about, whether like, what do you look for in a campground? Can't be a paved parking lot, even knowing that I'm now a trailer guy. But I need a big ass fire pit. I just learned that this weekend because normally at some campgrounds, they have fire pits that are like just an old tire rim. And it's like, it's like 6 inches off the ground. This one was like 1.5 feet off the ground. It was deep.
Yeah, you need.
And I was pumped on that because I looked around and I started walking around the first night, and fires are allowed right now, which is kind of rare in BC. Obviously, wildfires happen every fucking year. But I was walking around, and everyone that was having a campfire that I saw, dude, it was a hillbilly fire. It was 3 feet off the ground. It was fucking blazing. And so I looked at that. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what the deep fire pits are for. So that's what I need.
Okay. Yeah, as much as I hate trailers are dope. You can't hate trailers because when you're crippled and you want to go to bed and you want a nice queen size bed, it's there for you. Now, I just thought of a content piece that I think maybe we could talk to Raph about. StickinRink on the road doing a motorhome. I think that would be sick. I still have this vision in my head of maybe not StickinRink, but maybe just our friends, all guys, 5-6 people max, motorhome trip across the U.S., camping in Walmart parking lot. I think that would be so sick. Why don't we just become long road truckers for like a month?
Seriously. Why don't we all take just like a sabbatical all at the same time? Just, I actually don't know what the definition of that word is. So I don't, but let's all take one. It's so funny. I've actually thought about that trip, Josh, as like something I want to do in my life. Like I'd love to road trip for multiple weeks and like do the like hobo live abroad thing where you just sleep in the side of the road everywhere. That'd be so sick. Doing it with the guys now, that's dreamland right there. Like we're talking like
that would be awesome. And for some reason, I have another vision within that road trip that I would want to get you a Bubba Gump shrimp hat. So when you drive,
I thought you were going to say a boat.
No, a Bubba Gump shrimp hat that I think you could just wear with like a toothpick in your mouth as you drive the motor home.
I would fucking dig that, dude. I'm all about that life. You had me pegged from the beginning, Josh. That's why I love you. But as a more realistic plan, I would love, let's just do a StickinRink camping night. Like it doesn't even have to be a trip. It could just be a night, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think I just want to drive a motorhome. I feel like at the end of this whole thing, I just want to drive a motorhome.
Like you want to drive like the Meet the Fockers, like huge ass RV. Like you want the horn and the whole like.
I want the whole 9 yards. I want like a 30-foot boat going down the highway. That's
now that terrifies me a little bit, that amount of responsibility. But I will say I'll probably just load up on CBD and I'll just enjoy the entire thing. I'll be like, this is great.
I'll get the great. We can let Raph drive the motorhome, and we'll just hang out in the back.
Seriously. Okay, we got some things to address before we keep going here. So clearly it's the two Musketeers today. Now, devastating news. Raffle has been, I think he has polio. I think Raffle has come down with polio. He's done. We're probably never going to have him on again. The problem with Raffle is, this is unconfirmed, by the way. He probably just attended one of those like anti-mask, anti-COVID rallies and so they don't have COVID at those rallies, but they still have polio because they didn't get vaccinated from that. So Raffle now has polio. He's crypt. Oh, and I'm alone. That's sick. Now, Raffle will probably be a little bit mad at me for insinuating that he has polio, but thanks, Josh. That was scary to say the least. Now,
the definition of riding solo.
Yeah, seriously, ride the pod, dude. I'm just ride the lives, just come and hang out, I guess. I'm lonely. No, but so Raffle's just not with us today. Don't worry about it. That's the quick and easy explanation. We gave him the day off, all right, people. We're supposed to give him 4% of the hours that he works off. I think he's earned it by now. He'll have a night off. So that's that. Should we, the one part I'm missing already is being able to throw it over to Raph and like see how he's doing. How do you think Raph is doing? Like,
do you want me to do Raph's intro for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I want you to genuinely ask. Okay.
All right, Hey, Raph, how you doing?
I'm okay. Had a cup of coffee, took a nap, feeling pretty good. Kind of tired, but we're good.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And 10 out of 10 cut. Seriously, and we should throw it. And if the chat is out there, if you guys think you have a better Raffle intro, just go ahead and type it out and we'll read that out for you because I think that's pretty freaking accurate. Because this chat, so far for the podcast listeners, you're missing out on the Twitch chat right now because we have our favorite moderator, Bria, and all she's asking for is shirtless guys, which is a bit like we need to have just like it's not a penalty, but that's like just a bit of a flag, like throw a flag on that one. A bit early.
Yeah, I think. Come on, Bria, we're not even 15 minutes into this, and you're asking us to take our clothes off.
Yeah, that's intense.
We're not tramps. You ask me like the 20-minute mark, I'll take off whatever you want.
As soon as we see that triple-digit dono up in there, then we're set. Then we know we're getting paid for shirts. And for the podcast listeners, you might think, wow, I'm really out of the loop. Yeah, you kind of are, because if you come watch the show on the live stream, I do take my shirt off from time to time. But that's for the future. Josh, what do we got? Okay, we are a Canucks podcast. I think we're going to talk Canucks for quite a bit here. Not quite a bit, but like a good 20 minute sesh here, I'm going to say. I've got a bunch of topics set out now. I need to enter in this conversation by saying it was literally the last episode, the last live stream, the last episode we recorded. I said the line, a lot can happen in 3 games. I think I said that word for word. A lot can change in 3 games. And now, in my mind, that was supposed to help me. I'm supposed to be playoff train Lige. We were supposed to win all 3 games, and I was supposed to come back with like, Judge, I have new evidence, Did not happen, Josh. Did not happen. I guess I can throw you into.
Well, since we last recorded, we lost 3 straight. Did we?
That's
not?
Correct. Yes,
yeah.
All 3, convincingly.
Yeah, like it wasn't even close. Now,
the first game back, we were down 3-0 in the second period, and I sent out a tweet. I said I was still pretty positive. I said, "Hey, man, all 3-0 comebacks once started as a 3-0 deficit." So
you're right.
And we proceeded to score, I think, one or 2 goals, and then it went right back to like 6-3 by the end of it. So,
so with the Canucks, when I look at this season, now we've all watched like military movies. Have you seen American Sniper?
Correct.
In the scene, or just in any scene,
what's his name? Kyle something or Chris Kyle? Chris Kyle, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like when he's at the funeral and every Marine or like Navy SEAL like stabs the thing into the coffin and they salute the coffin.
Yeah. That's
us right now. we shove that pin in where you like push it in, then you
like literally nail in the coffin.
And then, that's it.
But, and I know what you're saying. In that scene, it's like the dress pin right on there.
Yeah, the dress pin. Exactly.
I see what you're saying.
I feel like that's where we're at right now.
Now, I was going to... Part of me wants to disagree. Most of me wants to just be normal.
Elijah, you can't, dude. You can't disagree. Who's clinched in the Canadian division?
Only Toronto. Only Toronto. So there's room to maneuver here. There's a plenty of room to maneuver. Why don't we save our standings updates for the end of the Canucks segment? Because I agree. We can go over every division just quickly, and then we could briefly talk about where the North is heading, the future of the North. But before we do that, there's some Canucks topics that have been happening. So I'm actually like, you know what? I will say this very briefly. Being a Canucks podcast is a fucking grind. Being any podcast of a specific team is a fucking grind sometimes, because you and I don't like talking about like the dumb, minuscule stories where it's like, oh my God, Cole Lind got an assist in his last minor league game. It's like, I don't give two fucks about that. But when actual stories happen like this, now we're having a good time. So first one up here. I should clarify, not good stories. When big stories happen, it's easier to do the show. So first story, Edler fighting Simmons. It was Edler versus Simmons versus the code. Now, there's plenty of thoughts already out there, Josh. We might be a little bit late to the party, but I want to hear your thoughts on whether or not that was deserved, whether it was the right move, anything like that.
I mean, after watching it and obviously what happened with Hyman, I don't know. I mean, knowing that it was Edler's first ever fight, and this guy is pretty much playing his last couple of years in the league, and he has to fight an animal like Wayne Simmons, I didn't really like it. Now, from the other hand, I do think that you have to be held accountable for your actions. Like a person has to. So what I worry about is if Edler ended up getting someone to take the fall for him or taking the fight.
Yeah.
What if that person gets hurt? Now, I'm not saying that obviously Vancouver's in a crucial playoff race where, you know, if someone gets hurt, it's like the end of the road, and it's really, really bad. But I also think, you know, still, like, even if you're one of his teammates, it's like, dude, like, you did it. You know, like,
yeah,
you're the one.
When you break it down, when you break down the facts here, Josh, it's Edler did it.
When you break it down, Edler did it. Now, whether it's intentional or not, it doesn't matter. In hockey, you're held accountable no matter what you do. Yeah. So, on the other hand, though, I don't really like it, maybe because of his age. The thing that I think of is, if you've ever seen the movie Goon, like when Boss the Boss Ray fights the captain and he like one punches him, that's what it looked like in that fight. Yeah. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish? Whether it was on purpose or not, Edler's not a dirty player. It was, you know, but like, why? Like, why is this?
I'm not just, so I want to get some of my thoughts out there. I haven't really like perfectly organized them yet, so they're probably just going to flow in a non-logical sense. But so looking at the fight, it sucks as a Canucks fan watching, like, I don't know, one of your childhood like heroes or one of your childhood favorite players get kind of the shit kicked out of him for a good 20 seconds. Like, literally, I don't think he threw a punch. It was it was more of a boxing bag imitation than it was a fight. But even just knowing that and watching it happen and hearing all the different opinions out there, whether it be Ian McIntyre, whether it be Kevin BX, all these different ones out there, what I've come to the conclusion as, yes, it was better. I like the way that situation dissolved a lot more than 80% of the other situations that figure themselves out in the NHL. For example, that was a dirty hit. It wasn't intentional. Edler he's out there and saying he felt bad about it because, you know, chain reaction. But when you actually look at the rest of it, okay, how is that situation handled otherwise? If that, like you said, if Edler doesn't fight, someone else might fight. What if he gets fucked up? That kind of sucks for him. If no one fights, then we got dirty hits happening left and right. Yeah. And the thing, and then when that kind of situation occurs, if you got Edler throwing the knee out, and then the next one, maybe you got Simmons throwing a little bit of a blind side on Horvat. Well, now each team is saying, like, wait a second, one guy threw a worse hit, so now we got to get him back. Like, it's, you know, it's just back and forth.
It's cause and effect.
Exactly. It's just, and it never dissolves. And I'm not just going to like take everything that Kevin BX has said and just regurgitate it. But I would say my favorite thing that he said was that after Edler fought, it was over. Like, no one did anything after that. No one was taking runs. No one was even saying anything because it was an unfortunate situation. They lost a good player. But when you have someone answering the bell for themselves like that, and credit to Simmons, he didn't jump him. Like, he gave him a few whacks, looked at him, and heat of the moment maybe, but he fucking let it.
and Edler.
Yeah, exactly. And so I those are all parts of it that I like. I actually hope. And now, one positive I'm going to draw from this too, my last thought on it, is that now I kind of think that this gives your team an identity of some sort, not a huge identity. It doesn't like change the landscape of your team, but in terms of how your team is allowed to retaliate to other players now, if, for example, if the same thing happens to a Canucks player, if Hoglander gets kneed and there's a player on a different team and we feel like he has to answer the bell, I feel like that kind of reputation also sticks itself through the league. Like, you know, if you're a team, like I'm having a hard time creating a comparison, but now I think teams look at the Canucks and say like, fuck, if I have a cheap shot, I myself am going to have to answer for that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just the way it is.
I feel like the makeup of a team in terms of like answering the bell, like holding another team accountable, isn't really lost. Now, what I would say is gone is the fact that you have other players stick up for other players. Now, if someone's out there just trying to fuck up Pettersson or Hoglander or Horvat, whoever it is, just for no reason, they're just trying to get under his skin, and then, you know, one of your tougher guys goes out on the ice to try and straighten him out, I think that's okay. However, if Hoglander lays a knee, or if someone gets kneed on the Canucks, whichever player did it should have to stick up for themselves. Like, you did it. You know, take accountability for your actions. You know,
the only thing
it doesn't matter if you're sorry. What matters is Pettersson's out for 2 weeks or Hoglander's out with a concussion. It doesn't matter if you're sorry. You know, it doesn't count. Like, if you're in the heat of the moment, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are, how tough you are. You did it. And I think that's where I like Edler. Like, yeah, you might get the shit kicked out of you, but hey, you know what? Maybe you won't lay that hit anymore because Simmons is going to come and fuck you up.
It does kind of change your brain chemistry a bit. One more little wrinkle. We talked about playing the role of raffle as much as we can. Here's a little devil's advocate for you.
I love it.
In honor of Senor Raff. What if it's Pettersson that throws the hit? And like what if he's Edler in this situation? Like that would kind of scare the shit out of you, especially let's say it's Pettersson throws the hit in a meaningful season, one where we are where the Habs are. We're in a playoff spot, you know, like that. I don't want to say it changes completely. It definitely changes.
Well, what I will say is I think it's even more so on Pettersson now, because here's the thing. He either fights now, or especially like you said, we're in a meaningful season. Well, Toronto's in a meaningful season as well. So if you don't fight now, they're going to continue to come after you or players around you. So I would say get it out of the way, take a punch, try and protect yourself, turtle, and then just go down. You know?
I would say that's honestly like what Edler did. He didn't even do it that well in the sense of like you could, if your plan is to cover yourself and not really throw punches, you can pretty much stay safe in that fight.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
keep your helmet on, duck down, pretty much you're good.
I mean, the way that I see it with Simmons is this guy was not wailing on him. Like you said, like
he threw some big ones. They didn't land, but
he definitely did. But I think Simmons probably wanted to give him a couple shots, and then that was it. You know, he didn't go after him when he was on the ground. He didn't do any of that shit. Like, it was once Edler was down, Simmons left him alone. And, you know, I think it was more so Simmons was just giving him a tough warning. It's, hey, man, like, you do this again, it's going to be a lot worse for you. And, and like I've said before, and you know as well, Edler is not a dirty player.
Exactly.
You know, it was just probably, like you said, in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, big time. I want to move on to a little topic about the Leafs and the Canucks and about Pettersson, actually. So I wrote it down in here about just this idea, watching Matthews through the entire season and the games against the Canucks. It's very abundantly clear how impactful he is on their game and any game he plays in. Now, thinking back to when Pettersson was in our lineup, there's a separation there. Like, there's a clear separation of the tier that Matthews is in. Yeah, there's a sizable gap. There's a noticeable gap for sure. I'm wondering, because Pettersson's only 1 year younger than Matthews. And he's our franchise center. Matthews is their franchise center. That's not going to change, at least over the next year or two. Do you see a world where Pettersson can evolve and develop enough to where he can be our Matthews, not in the same skill set. He doesn't bring the same skill set, but no. In terms of impact.
Okay. Don't get me wrong. I really like Austin Matthews as a player. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I compare Pettersson to him, I also kind of look at the supporting cast that Matthews has around him compared to what Pettersson has. So with Petey, do I think that Petey's done a lot more than Matthews with what he's had existed? I mean, it's hard to say, because Pettersson makes an impact on a shittier team. Austin Matthews is a star of a good team. That's what he is. He's not the captain, but he's the star. So I can see a world where Pettersson does reach that level. I don't think he's there yet, but I think also at the same time, you need to put really good players around Pettersson the way that Toronto has done the same thing for Matthews. They build around Austin Matthews. Bringing in John Tavares, they're not building around John Tavares. They're building around Austin Matthews.
It's true.
What they did
very
is
good point.
They just alleviated the pressure of the captaincy off of Austin Matthews, because being the star and being the captain, as we know, in a big market like Toronto, is not good. It does not end well for anyone.
It's a tough situation.
You need someone who can actually show leadership and just shield the blame. Because what Tavares does is he's the umbrella of shit that covers Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, just like Bo Horvat is for Brock Besser and Elias Pettersson and JT Miller and Quinn Hughes when shit's not going well. That's what a true captain is, at least in a big hockey market as well.
Yeah. No, bunch of good points you put out there. Bunch of good points. I would say, there is just some sort of presence that Austin Matthews has. Like, there is something about him that when
he's got the swag, like even on and off the ice, he's got. Yeah. Everyone knows Austin Matthews. Everyone knows him. Yeah.
And like a super marketable superstar on a side note. And just everything, I've said this about Pettersson in the past, and it's something that I hope to see from him, is that he hasn't really developed this skill set of taking over a game physically. Like, how Austin Matthews, he's not known as a guy that throws his weight around, but he is a guy who's a bigger guy who, if it's a one-on-one third period, 3 minutes left, he's coming down the ice one-on-one, there's a strong chance he might try and use his strong body and just make a fucking hockey play. Whereas Pettersson's very much known for just the fancier side of the game, which in playoff time is very hard to execute. And in important games is very hard to do. So I think that's kind of the big separation that I see in terms of just what the comparisons are and where he can grow. I'm excited to see, though, because Pettersson has proved me, even after seeing how good he was raw skill set wise, he's impressed me on how fucking tough he is, how much he throws hits, how much he gets in the dirty air. So I'm actually excited to see how he grows into that. I think he will.
I think you made a really good point with just in terms of skill set. And I compare Pettersson's early skill set to Sidney Crosby's when he was earlier on in his career, in the sense of Sid used to be that very finesse, always tried to make the perfect pass, the perfect play. And it wasn't until they played Philadelphia and the Islanders that actually really started to piss off Sid, where he's okay, I need to play a little bit meaner and use my body or, my physicality a little bit more, because they're gonna chew you out. They're gonna eat you, and they're gonna fucking spit you out like you're nothing. And I feel like Austin Matthews does a pretty good job with that. And as we've seen in the past, Pettersson is not afraid to throw his weight around. And there needs to be a series where Pettersson is starting to make himself tougher on the ice and create more space for himself, and maybe not rely on someone around him to do it for him.
That's big. That's big right there. What you said, creating space for yourself. That's something that line mates can do for you, but if you do it yourself, it's 10x
And
the value.
And I would even say, just kind of adding on to that is maybe that's where Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau may have failed, because there's always been like, who can play on the right wing with them? They need someone to create space. No, good players create their own room.
That's
and
true.
How you do that is obviously, it could be based on speed, elusiveness, but it could also be on your own physicality. Like Sean Monahan is a big body. Now Johnny Gaudreau is a really good skater, and that's how he kind of makes his room. And same with Quinn Hughes, and Mitch Marner and any other small player in the league. But I think Pettersson is kind of looking for someone to create space for him still.
Yeah. And like you made a good comparison there where you said like the Gaudreau and Monahan to Pettersson comparison. And the other side I would say is like Matthews is looking a lot like McKinnon sometimes.
Yeah.
Like a little bit before these last couple of years, because McKinnon he's about as physical of a top tier player as you're going to get, I think.
And he's just and the reason why he's physical is because he's fucking fast. Like when he hits you, he's going to hit you like a fucking freight train, not because he enjoys body checking people. It's because he just travels like a fucking rocket into the corners. It's inevitable.
He's a freight train. Yeah. And it's everything. It's hitting, it's puck battles, it's stuff like that where, Pettersson's feisty but once he puts on weight, maybe, I don't know. I just don't know where the avenue is going to be. It's somewhere. We'll just have to see where it ends up, Yeah. Okay, why don't we wrap up the hockey talk by going over some standings here? Let's do some standings updates. So we'll handle the North real quick because the North needs to be handled. Now, the Canucks are sitting at 7th place with 41 points. We're behind the Senators by 2 points. We've got 6 games in hands, though, so fuck those guys. I'm just going to tell you right now, the Canadians, we all know the first 3. We got the Leafs, the Oilers, and the Jets. The Oilers have a substantial lead for second. Even right now, they have 62 points with less. They have a 5-point lead with less games played. I would say they're going to wrap that up. Each team only has 7 and 6 games remaining. So that's pretty much wrapped up. The Canadians now have an 8-point lead on the Flames with the same amount of games played. Each team only has 6 to go. So that one's even looking like it could be wrapped up in the next 2 games right here. I believe that's the math, 12. Yeah, depending on the tiebreakers, that could be wrapped up in the next 2 games. Other than that, the most obvious one is the Canucks are going to sneak into the 4th spot. We've got tons of games left. We've got 11 games left. That's 22 points on the board. That puts our number at 63 points. The Canadians only have 55, Josh.
There you go.
You like that? You like that?
You like that?
Yeah, you like that? That's called positivity. It's going to fucking happen. Hey, call me crazy. I'll put this out there right now because people are going to call me a bandwagon if it actually happens. I'm not done on the Canucks. Don't fucking get it wrong. I think I have one more loss in me. And right now, I have one more. The next game we can lose and I'm still there. But after that, I think I'm done. I think I'll be officially, you know what? If we lose another game, the next game, I'm done. But until then, I'm fucking here. So just so everyone knows where I'm at. But other than that, Josh, do we have any thoughts about the North here? It kind of seems sealed up, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way that you described it, there's too big of point differentials. I think maybe at this point it's more so just placement as to who plays who. When I look at playoff matchups, who would I like to see? I would really like to see Toronto and Winnipeg. That would be sick. And I feel like Edmonton and who's the 4th?
The Canadians.
Yeah, so Edmonton and Montreal, I think, would be a really fast series, which I like. Toronto and Winnipeg would be, I would say, a pretty physical series, which would be interesting. When you're trying to prep for the Bruins, because you're going to play them, I'm pretty sure Boston might actually be done. Pretty sure. I'm not sure, though.
No, I'll get to them later.
Love that. You're going to have to play a gritty team in the U.S. You're going to have to, and you have to pay for it.
I think we can say this, that every top team in the U.S. right now is, I'm going to say, tougher than the North Division teams. Other than Winnipeg, maybe. Every other team, though, the top teams in other divisions are tougher than the Canadian teams. That's just a fact. I could just say this. There's one interesting division when it comes to standings. You want to talk about that first or last? Next or last?
If you're not first, you're last. I don't know. let's touch on the tough division.
Okay, the tough one right now. So you got the Central Division, and when I mean tough, I mean it's the only one that has a decent playoff race going for the last spot. So right now we've got in that division, you got the Carolina Hurricanes, the Lightning, and the Panthers have all clinched their spots already. They're all in the 70-point range, which is nuts. And then you've got the Nashville Predators in fourth spot at 58 points with 52 games left, being chased by the Dallas Stars, who have one less game played with 3 less points. So, it could be a 1-point game when 1 point separation when the games are caught up. Especially, man, this season is the story of teams that were written off. They were in the demo, what is it called? The demo yard where you demolish cars. Mm-hmm. Dude, this sunbeam in my face is getting bigger and bigger.
Dude, I was gonna say it looks like you have a white mustache.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's like a little effect. Okay, but I'll leave you with a thought and I'll let you answer it while I fix that. But okay. So there's 2 parts. A, who do you want to see come out of this division in terms of adding entertainment value to this division between the Predators and Stars? Yeah. And then B, who do you think? Is it different between who you want and who you think?
Who's leading that division right now?
Right now it's not the Panthers, it's not the Lightning, it's the Hurricanes. So all 3 of those teams are separated by 2 points. The Hurricanes have a 2-point lead on both those teams. The Panthers have the most games played. Yeah, it's pretty much a 2-point separation.
Okay, so when I look at that division, I would really like to see. There's part of me that wants Dallas in there, just because I feel like Nashville is kind of at the point where, it didn't really help Elijah.
Yeah, it didn't fix much. That's okay.
I feel that Nashville, I don't know what direction they're going in.
They're making a last-ditch effort at this whole Stanley Cup thing.
Yeah. The other side, though, is if Dallas makes it to the Cup final last year and they miss the playoffs this year, like you're the St. Louis Blues that didn't pull through. That's what you are. Yeah. That's what you're pegged as. So I feel that Dallas has a lot more riding on this than Nashville does, but also at the same time, Nashville, in terms of, and I know you hate this term, but in terms of their winning window, it's closing. Roman Yossi's getting old. Matthias Ekholm is pretty sure a UFA. Is he an RFA or a UFA?
He has 1 more year after this.
1 more year. Is Matt Duchene the guy? There are multiple factors on this team. Can you continue to have success? So in terms of who I think and who I want are the same. I think Dallas needs to come through. They need to start winning. They're very much, I think they've got 2 to 3 years left to be really competitive before Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, Ben Bishop, start to become ineffective. And then you have to rely on like the Rupe Hintz or Heiskanen, those type of guys in your lineup.
All right, I see. I do not. Good on you today. You're making me not hate your opinions. So looking at that, yeah. So I actually like the makeup of both teams. I think it's reminiscent of the way you build a hockey team, a competitive hockey team in the 2020 years, where you've got, in terms of names, you got names up and down this lineup, dude. Holy
all
frick.
brands.
Do you have names like Joe Pavelski? You know how much I love Joe Pavelski. He's got 21 goals in 51 games. That guy gets you into the playoffs. So who do I think is going to make the playoffs? I think Joe Pavelski is going to make the playoffs, and I also want him in the playoffs. Now, what's even, dude, your little fucking chuckle even somehow made me lose a little bit of a train of thought there. That's nuts.
I love how, of all the players, and don't get me wrong, like for all the listeners out there, I do not hate Joe Pavelski. I just don't like your take on Joe Pavelski.
It stayed the same. I would say my take is aged better than yours.
Actually, what I will say, no. Here's what I will say. You said that if Joe Pavelski stayed on San Jose would have made the playoffs. This was
year, 2 years ago, I believe, right?
2 years ago. This year, when you just said 21 goals in 51 games, That's good. That's a really good season for Joe Pavelski. Now, if you put him on San Jose still, I still don't think San Jose makes the playoffs.
That's okay. So this year, maybe I might have to change my tune.
You're right. You're right about Joe. He's great.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal, but he doesn't get San Jose over the hump.
Your point was less about Joe Pavelski and more about San Jose. You were 60-40 on the San Jose hate, and then 40% still on the Joe Pavs hate, though.
Yeah.
Because now I'll change my opinion for this one, and I'll say that I'm a little less certain that Joe Pavelski would have gotten them in the playoffs this year. I'm probably about 60-40 on that, but I have 60% saying that he would. Whereas that last, sorry, it was, yeah, but last year I would say I was 100%. Like I'm 100% sure that if Joe Pavs, the guy that scored 38 goals in his departing season, was on that team, they have stability. They've got their warrior. They're in the playoffs. I'm willing to stick to that. Now, looking at the Nashville Predators, I'm not even going to say anything. I want Dallas in there. We're going to move on. No one else is really in the picture on that one. So moving over, let's talk about the East Division for a couple minutes here. Can you guess who's at the top of that division? Because I don't. That's like
the Rangers and Islanders and all that shit.
It's the New York teams: Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington. Who else?
I think it's Pittsburgh, right?
That's right. I didn't think you would know that. I don't look at the full NHL standings that often this season.
Yeah,
dude, they were in the dumps in the beginning of this season. People wanted Crosby possibly, or Malkin traded, or possibly Crosby. I think there was rumors about that too. And here we fucking are, dude.
Dude, there's part of me that thinks that Chris Letang, Evgeny Malkin, and Sidney Crosby are the 1990 Chicago Bulls. The last game. No, seriously. Like I truly believe that. I feel that they're writing that narrative right now. People think they're washed up. People wanted Pippen traded. People wanted Rodman traded. And they just continued, or they wanted to continue to build around Jordan and, in a sense, Crosby. And, dude, these guys are unreal. Like, the duo that they have, they've surpassed fucking Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr in playoff points for the Penguins. Let's not forget about that. Like, this is probably the best duo in all of hockey when it comes to playoffs. I'd say, here's a take for you. Better than Taves and Kane. There you go. Stuck on that.
Josh, what have you done, sir? What have you done there? What have you just done?
I'm just saying, dude, it's very plausible. They've got 3 cups. How many does Chicago have?
Yes.
2?
No, 3 as well. They have 3 as well.
3 as well. Dude,
pretty sure.
I'm not saying that Pittsburgh's going to win. I'm not saying that at all. However, if obviously Pittsburgh goes the distance and they're at least in the Stanley Cup final, that conversation needs to be had. Mm-hmm. Everyone was so focused on the dynasty that the Hawks had. Well, the dynasty has lasted longer in Pittsburgh. And that's because of Sid and Malkin and Letang.
So is it safe to say the Bruins are well the Bruins, no, they have the 2, 3, 4 in that division. You have the Capitals, Islanders, Bruins. Capitals 69 points, Islanders 67, Bruins 66. They all pretty much have the same games played. Bruins have 1 less. Let's just say the standings stick to where they are. The Bruins play the Penguins. Who you taking the Penguins?
Easily.
I don't know about that, dude.
That's a tough one for me. I think my one reservation, and like you said, I haven't really kept up on it. How is Taylor Hall doing?
Pretty, I think okay. Or I think good, better than okay, not great.
Yeah.
But good. Good is good. Good's good.
I mean, again, who is Rask playing this season for Boston?
Our NHL knowledge at its finest right now. I would say I've heard of different goalies going in left and right. He must be dealing with injuries this whole season. I don't know where he is now, but
okay. But he's not there.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I think when it comes to the playoffs, you need a good goaltender. You need someone to get it done. And when you look at those 4 teams, so it's Pittsburgh. I couldn't even name you their starter. Is it still fucking Tristan Jarry or is he hurt?
Yeah, let's go with that. Maybe Casey DeSmith. Who knows?
Yeah. who else is in that? Washington. So Samsonov.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's good. Pretty good.
Give it to him. Yeah.
Boston couldn't even tell you, so they're out. And who's 4?
The Islanders. Varlamov.
Okay.
Varlamov and Sorokin.
Yeah. See, I would say that in terms of edge and goaltending, the Islanders, and they play the fucking trap. They do not play an interesting type of hockey.
Yeah, this is a fact.
But Washington does.
This
And Ovechkin will take clappers, and he will smoke Varlamov.
Yeah.
But I feel like all these teams are kind of on their last legs, except for the Islanders. The Islanders are just coming. But Washington, Boston, and Pittsburgh, they're kind of at the, like I said, very much like Nashville. They're kind of at the tail end of their dynasty.
Yeah. I kind of like that. I like the way this division's shaped up, like the way you just put it, how all 3 of these teams are on their last legs. I like that they're in the same division this year doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Tampa's kind of a little bit younger than all of them in terms of what they can do in the future. Mm-hmm. But I like how Tampa's with the younger guys too, the Hurricanes, Panthers, all that jazz over there. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's keep it going here. The other divisions, the West Division, the Knights are up top. We got the Avalanche, the Wild. They're easily clear of everyone else. The Blues and the Coyotes are kind of fighting for the last spot. The Blues have 3 games in hand and a 3-point lead. So I'm going to go ahead and seal that one. I give the Canucks, the Coyotes only have 5 games or 4 games remaining too. So I'm going to go ahead and call that division. That's over. And I'll come up with a question here, Josh, and I'll say, do you have faith in the Minnesota Wild going into the playoffs?
Are they going to?
Don't even worry about it. They have 68 points. The Blues have 53. They're fucking nasty this year, dude. They're 32-14. Now, blame COVID, guys. Don't say that Josh is not a hockey fan and doesn't keep up. This shit's hard. This shit's hard to keep up with, man. Yeah, the Wild are fucking good.
Holy shit. Do I have faith? No. It does not matter how good the Minnesota Wild are. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. Something always goes wrong for them. I don't really know what it is, but they're I don't know. They're not a playoff team. They never have been. They never will be.
Yeah.
You know, right. even when they had Ryan Suter and Zach Parise and Nicky Backstrom and all this shit, like it didn't matter. It did not matter.
I'm gonna join your boat and say I do not have faith in the Minnesota Wild. I like Kaprizov, and even if he does insane shit in the playoffs, I just don't know, dude. I just don't know. Every other team in that division is playoff seasoned. The Avalanche, the Knights, and the Blues. These guys are seasoned playoff teams.
My one issue is if you're Minnesota and you're solely relying on a rookie to take you through the playoffs, that is no bueno. That is no bueno. Your luck will eventually run out. People will learn how to figure out and play this guy. And that's going to be that. And that's the thing. You neutralize their one player if they have nobody else around. You know, maybe Spurgeon could still get it done, but you neutralize the one rookie sensation. That's it. That's all you need.
Curtains.
Yeah. See you later.
Okay. That's we're going to move it on, guys. We're going to keep it going. We pumped Hockey Talk a lot there. Yeah. That's good enough for today, Josh. You can take a breather on that. Before we jump into any golf talk, Josh, I do want to talk about some things that happened today in my own life. So I just put it out on Twitter. I'm going to talk about protesters now. Now, I feel like talking about protesters, kind of an edgy subject in 2021. Welcome to the Edge podcast. We just edge you all day. Now, I was driving to Stanley Park today, Josh. I was having some quality time with the missus. We were going to go rent bikes on the seawall and go bike ride the seawall. Now, I go into Granville Bridge and police shut up. It's all shut off, dude. The police got it covered. And I come home and I find out that the bridge was shut off due to a protest about climate change. Now, how do I justify my madness here? I don't know. Fuck it. Is that how I do it? I'm fucking pissed. I hate being inconvenienced, dude. And I get it. That's the point of a protest. The whole point of a protest is they inconvenience you or they just bring awareness. And this one brings awareness by inconveniencing you. I'm kind of choked. Don't take away my bridge. Now, I kind of like, I am a believer in climate change. Don't get me wrong. I'm not out here with the megaphone and the no mask. I'm not part of that. I'm not fake news, dude. Okay. I'm not from the deep South. I'm from Vancouver. I know what's what. I'm kind of semi woke, but I will say, why can't we just go to the art gallery like everyone else? I went to the art gallery today. I think there was 2 protests in 2 hours. That's called efficiency. Y'all shut down the bridge on me, man. Like, I've thought about this. Part of me was kind of like stressed out because today I allotted for more time, or like I just had extra time, you know? But oftentimes, like if that had cost me my time going to the seawall, I'm kind of scared about how mad I would have been at the protesters, you know? Because I would have been like, dude, that's fucked. Like I didn't do anything wrong. And I just like, my day was shot.
You drive a car, Elijah. That's what you do wrong.
Yeah, seriously. And it kind of triggered me, like, because that happened on the way there. And I think I was in a mood, dude. Like it had me in a mood. It didn't ruin my day with the lady. That was fine. But then when we went downtown and we were at the art, like we were eating food by the art gallery.
Yeah.
I saw the anti-mask protesters and I just felt triggered. Like I felt like I should be confrontational because I was like, you know what? Fuck you, man. Fuck y'all. And so I thought about it, but I didn't because I'm a little bit of a baby back bitch, like mentioned on previous podcasts. I just felt like I should get some protester venting out there.
Okay.
Is that did I do it okay?
I thought you were fair. I mean, the biggest thing with protests, I don't know, like
Greta's not happy with me. I get it.
I don't understand when people inconvenience other people. Look, I get it. You're fighting for something. And if you really give a shit, why are you doing it in Vancouver? Go somewhere else. I don't know.
I don't get that point.
I'm trying to formulate this to do it in a nice way. Okay, I think my biggest thing is when you inconvenience somebody else, what you're doing is you're indirectly shoving your views in somebody else's face.
Yes, and you know what?
And that bothers me.
A
protest that inhibits me from driving somewhere or just anywhere is like a Bible salesman coming to my door. I am not religious. I have no intention of being, but thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you fighting for something.
But the Bible guy is actually a bit better. Like at least he's not. That's like the Bible guy standing in front of your garage and be like, "Bro, I'm not leaving until you take a Bible." Like, and it's like, bro, like, I don't want to be a jerk, but like, I just want to go across the bridge. Like, yeah. Fuck. Now, and actually, I'll throw a logical point into this, and I'll say, Josh, any person. Now, this is my opinion on the way that that movements happen and the actual like cause and effect relationship of it is that when we look at a less look at me saying less serious movement in climate change, but when you actually look at today and you say, okay, to the protesters, every single person that you blocked from going to the bridge today, do you think that any one of those people is more on the side of like has changed their mind positively because of this experience? No. Yeah. Like 0 people have experienced today's bridge block and said, man, you know what? Fuck, I really didn't think about this. I need to do more about climate change. That's not what you do.
But here's my question. What if some guy comes over in a Prius? You gonna hit his car? He's being fuel efficient.
What about the Tesla, dude?
What about
Isn't
the
that
Tesla?
Sick? Shouldn't you let Teslas only over?
Yeah.
That should be, it'd be like an HOV lane. It's like a protester HOV lane. Like, we're shutting down this bridge unless you got an electric vehicle. Now I'm a bit more open to it. It's a bit more ridiculous.
But here's the other thing is now I'm not saying that I assume the people protesting climate change are not really bitching and complaining about what people are driving. However, we are in a day and age where people buy or try and buy, because they're a little bit more expensive, fuel efficient vehicles. Like people genuinely try and be as efficient. That's why we have recycling. That's why we, have compost and all that stuff. I guess it's more so for me, when people protest climate change in BC, you're protesting what I meant with the whole Vancouver thing. You're protesting in the wrong place. Everyone
Yeah,
in
I can
Vancouver,
see that.
everyone in Vancouver is very climate change aware. We are
Yeah.
environmentally friendly in this part. You want to go fucking protest? Go protest in Alberta. That's where the money's being fucking. No, seriously. No,
Yeah,
but no,
it's
honestly,
a dangerous proposition, but like I know what you're saying. That's like talk
I'm
about
not wrong.
effectiveness.
I'm not
You're
wrong,
not wrong,
though, right? Like
Okay.
you're gonna protest in Stanley Park, the biggest patch of green other than Central Park in New York City. Cool, dude. You're around a bunch of trees. You're not by like a fucking pipeline and like inhibiting those people. That's where the shit is happening. So I don't know.
A little bit of a devil's advocate before we move on. I think what someone would say is they're protesting the government's inaction as opposed to the citizens. But like
so
at the same time,
they go to like Parliament Hill?
Exactly. Like on that note, like how many government officials were trying to cross the fucking Granville Bridge, dude? Like, I don't think it's like net zero gain in terms of like getting the government's attention. I think you might have done that today. They've done it many times. I think they did it yesterday and they're doing it tomorrow. So like now I'm kind of happy I know that going into tomorrow. However, it's not a net zero gain. You probably did something noticeable to the government. However, I believe you've done less to the pot. Like you have negatively impacted the citizens in terms of their view on climate change. Like I don't think it's necessarily smart citizens that are negatively impacted. Like I don't think it's the brightest people that are like, oh fuck these people. But like I think you have a net negative impact on the citizens. So that's my thoughts on it. Do you want me to put a positive spin on some other stories?
Sure.
2 things that I saw during my walk at Stanley Park. It turned into a walk because I lost time, didn't have time to rent a bike. Thanks, Granville Bridge. First thing, electric scooters. I'm all about it. I fucking love electric scooters, Josh. They look sick. Heavy duty, high lot. Like maybe that's not fuel efficient or like economic. I don't know. Fuck it. We're done with that. Do you like e-scooters? Would you ride an e-scooter date with me?
I mean, if I worked at Google, yeah, sure. Google or Apple. I feel like that's what I would.
Maybe we'll do that, dude. We always go to this avenue with things, but content, dude. What if we do a little StickinRink episode on e-scooters? We'll wear lapel mics and we'll get Raffle on the scooter behind to have to like follow us with the receiver, so he'll have to stay close the whole time.
Love that. That I can be down for.
The other thing, other positive spin, bongo circles, bongo drum circles. That was probably the most peaceful I felt all day. I needed a good dose of peace in my life after the other thing we talked about. And just like there was 6 people. Me and Megan asked this question. Do you think they know each other? No chance. They are strangers. They each own some form of a bongo drum, a maraca. There was a guy who he was just shaking a maraca. That was his job. I don't know if they have a community group chat, if everyone's just carrying their instrument around with them and they stumble upon each other. I watched them for probably like a minute and a half, zero conversation between them, minimal eye contact. And my God, did they still have rhythm? Good for you. That was sick to watch. That's my rant for the day.
It was part of the climate change protests.
See, wouldn't that be ironic? Like they're like they spearhead the Granville shutdown. They do so well. They don't even have to go to it. They're like, fuck you, dude. You're not allowed to like our drum circle.
Oh,
fuck. Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to move on to golf talk?
Let's move on to golf talk.
Okay, I'll let you lead this topic. You go ahead.
Okay, so I played golf today. I played at what golf?
Westwood.
Westwood. Fuck. How do you know where I played? And you weren't even there.
I've typed in Google too many times now.
So I played at Westwood in Coquitlam. Hilly is all hell golf course. They make you cart. It's included in the price, which is not that bad. I shot a 106. And to the listeners that listen to this podcast, well, you'd be aware that my last round I shot a 92 at Sandpiper. And I just decided, because I thought it'd be fun, to add basically a stroke on every single hole that I played. That's basically what that math equates to. 14 extra strokes. Now, I was saying to the guy I was playing with today, if I'm going to be shit, let me be shit consistently. Don't give me a 106 and then 2 weeks before dangle a 92 in my face and say, hey, Josh, you're going to have a back nine of your life and you're going to beat your friends, was not the case today.
That's a feeling right there.
Now, there were a couple things. I won't touch on my round too much. The only thing I will say is the course, the whites were actually under 6,000 yards. Like, it was,
okay.
Yeah.
So rather short course.
Yeah, pretty much. And I felt that I barely actually got to hit any. I only hit my 7 and 8 iron like a handful of times. And it was more so like tee shot and then like wedges into the green and putter.
I see. Okay.
So my wedges were actually fine. I was not disappointed about that. But my putting, dude.
Oh no.
Oh,
the
dude.
Flat stick, dude.
Dude, the flat stick was murdering me. I 3-putted 4 times on the front. And 3-putted 3 times on the back.
Oh no, Josh. Or no.
So it was tough.
Or no.
Yeah, and all that considering, like, my the putter murdered me today. My tee box game was It was just it's usually how it always is.
It was in play.
Lost a couple balls. Yeah, it was pretty narrow, which was even more daunting because you would be, downhill shot, narrow trees, all that stuff. But yeah. So overall, not really a good day. The putter was brutal though. That put the nail in the coffin for sure. So the guys I was playing with though, and this is where my question kind of stems from, is are there things like what are certain things that bother you on a golf course aside from your own game? Now, it doesn't have to be like during the game. It can be before, it can be after. What are certain things that you think you're like, fuck, like I don't like that. I don't like it. Okay. What are certain things?
So now we're not just talking nature, like we're talking what other people do, things happen. Okay, sick. Yeah. So first thing that I'm going to say, and I think this is a unique take. If I don't get to laugh before we tee off, I'm not happy. I'm not in a good mindset. Like, for example, when you're at a foursome with the boys, or hey, even if it's a couples game and it's people I know, people I'm vibing with, I don't even have to know you. As long as you got a vibe to you, and we get a chance to laugh a couple times before we tee off, I'll probably have a good game. Now, if I'm playing with strangers, that's all right. But if you're also the personality of a brick wall and you don't like to laugh, you're going to fuck up my golf game. So come ready to laugh if you're going to play with me. That's number one. Josh, I'll let you go next. We'll kind of alternate a little bit.
Okay. The things that happened today didn't happen. Well, actually, one of them did. But the first thing was music being played. It wasn't my round today, but I hate when people play music in golf. I hate when, of course, I like silence.
Really?
Yeah, it drives me insane.
So let me ask you this though. I've never played music with my friends. Whenever I golf alone, I usually throw some tunes on just on my phone, like on half volume in my pocket. Like it's very, I almost pretty much hear it just when I'm walking.
If I don't hear it, I don't care. If I can hear it, I give a shit. And it bothers the hell out of me.
What about this? Let me ask you this. So let's say you're having a shit first 5 holes. You're in a shit mood, and someone throws on some tunes. Does that make it worse for you think?
Yeah. No, it's not do I think, it's I know.
It is, hey?
It drives me insane. I need to be able to concentrate. It's like, for me, I would compare, like, not that I do this very often, but reading. The odd time, like very odd time, I crack open a book, it needs to be silent, or it needs to be outside. I can't have music on as I read. I need to concentrate on what I'm reading. You know what I mean?
Some people can. I'm the same way as you in the reading. Some people can, which it blows my mind. So Josh, I'm going to say something. Don't get offended when I say this. We're friends, dude. You and I, we're good pals. Do you think I'm gonna say the question and then fix it as we go. Do you think you take golf too seriously? Now, not on a case by case basis. Like totally, like I'm in the same boat as you. You've seen me. I've flipped the fuck out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've seen, like, you're locked in when you golf, and like you said, now the music is like the music side. I don't really give a fuck with the music, but I don't know if I've seen you have like a goof around golf round, or even just like a semi goof around golf round, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I take golf very seriously, and I
Yeah.
don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I don't. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you talk for a bit. You just like explain your thoughts a bit, and I'll go after.
And I'm not saying that like it's because you said it, but like I don't. If someone's like, you take golf too seriously, I would hope so. I would hope, because it's just I like to be competitive. That's what it is. And sometimes golf is a very like when people say like you're too serious, those people that do that, you just can't stay focused, or you're just having too big of a shitty round to even care. You know, I think the biggest thing for me is when I play, and it can also kind of depend on like the people I'm playing with as well. Like if I'm at like if for example, you and I go to like a shitty par 3, sure, yeah, let's have some fun. But if you're like, hey Josh, we're gonna play a full 18, I'm not out there to have like, obviously I enjoy it, but
you were about to say it though. You were about to say it. Just say it for the record. Come on.
I'm not out there to have fun. I'm there to win.
I love hearing
that. But that's the thing though, right? Like if like when I play shit, like it bothers me. It's hard to keep a positive attitude. You know?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just such an internal grind, and I guess like the concentration for me is huge. You know,
so and this is what I've noticed about you. Yeah, sorry. This is what I've noticed about you too, is that I'm sure you notice about yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you golf, like I said, you're locked in, you're like laser focused. And when you're playing good, like when you have the round, like you shoot 92,
I don't talk.
Yeah, well, you kind of laugh. Like we were having a good time. That was kind of a trip kind of golf day as well. But you're right though. You very minimal talking, and like it's very zoned in. And in those instances, I look at it and say, no, you know what? That's like a good thing. Like that's part of the reason he's shooting a 92 right now. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, like I've been with you during the rounds of like the 106s. I've been side by side with you shooting a 106 in those rounds as well.
I can try like a 118.
Yeah, seriously. Like it is at that point, I feel like, hey, you do you, Josh. You are your own man with your own penis. But at the same time, I feel like you've got to, for the sake of future Josh, you've got to unlock the I don't give a fuck like reset or something like that. Like I don't know if it's a laugh, I don't know if it's like a do something stupid, say something stupid, or like have an outburst out loud. But in terms of like when I think about this, I think, okay, one day we're going on a golf trip. We're going 4-day bender. We're playing 4 rounds, that kind of thing. And like some of the rounds are going to be messy. Like we're going to be blackout drunk, and there's got to be a different gear for Josh there, or even if it's in between, you know?
Yeah. The interesting thing for me is if I drink too much, I get sloppy.
Oh yes.
And I think in turn, when I start drinking, I try and do it to relax me and to keep me just like loose, like you said. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I start chunking shots, then I turn into angry drunk Josh. And that's like a whirlwind of shit. So I try and actually not drink as much for that purpose. So in terms of, I was also going to ask you about superstitions. Do you have any superstitions when you golf or no? Or like any routine that you do?
Well, okay, like I have swing routines. I don't follow them as much as I should. For those who listen who don't play golf, like swing routines are actually, everyone says this, coaches, players, everyone says that swing routines are one of the biggest keys to being consistent and actually playing well as a swing routine. I don't really have one that I do every time, but I would say each round I kind of have something that I try and do. In terms of superstitions though, things before the round, during the round, stuff like that, I actually would say that I'm like actively trying not to. I don't know if that itself is a superstition, but I've told myself like I constantly think about golf like you do on the mental side. And I think about how I try and picture my path to the 80s and to the 70s of golf greatness. How do I get there? And I picture myself getting there by not giving a fuck mentally, like having a goldfish memory. And so I try and like almost actively take out superstitions. I'm like, no, I'm not going to tie the same shoe every time. I don't give a fuck. Like that's not going to change this. So maybe that itself is a superstition, but how about you?
So I've actually got like 4 of them that I kind of do or don't do.
Take it away, Zach Greinke. Let's hear.
The first one is I'm always on time. I cannot be late for a golf round. I hate being rushed. If you tell me to I'll maintain a pace of play. And that's the other thing. Like I don't golf slow. I go at my own pace. But as soon as someone's like, we need to pick it up, that stresses me out and I do not like it.
But you have to. That you can do it.
Well, I can, 100% I can, but like I hate looking back at the tee box. Like as soon as I look back and I see someone, I get stressed out. So I try and not do that. Not really superstition, more so
I see.
But I'm always on time though, getting to the course. My ball marker is usually in, I would say, my back left pocket pretty much all the time. I never wear a glove, mostly for a grip thing, but like I feel like I could rock one now, but I choose not to just because I've gotten so used to golfing without one. And then no fucking golf carts. I had to cart today and that really pissed me off. Granted, it was definitely not a walking course for sure, but I need the mental preparation in between golf shots. I can't skull a shot, go 2 seconds and be right there to hit another one. I need to walk the extra like 10, 12 seconds, be like, okay, Josh, reset. Golf carts drive me nuts for that reason. If they allow me to walk, I'll walk.
I've played over my years of golf. I've played with a bunch of old people, whether it be parents, grandparents, older people, whatever. I've been in the cart game. I know the cart etiquette, not the etiquette, sorry, like how to optimize your cart in terms of mental and just like time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you think you have the right skills to be able to optimize the cart?
No.
So like you got to be comfortable telling whoever, take the cart, I'm walking, like for a hole or for like a shot. I did that so many times in the last one where I was like, whether shit shot or a good shot, if you just want some time, you take a walk. You're like, I'm gonna grab my club, I'm gonna grab 3 clubs, I'm walking. Boom, right away. Yeah. The other thing, now this one, I'm gonna go ahead and retroactively blame my sandpiper performance on the golf cart driver, partially, give him 4 or 5 shots maybe. If you have a shitty driver, aka doesn't have to, shitty's a mean word. If you have a slow driver, whoever's driving the cart, we need to be hauling motherfucking ass. Like that's the only way to do a golf. Yeah, even if you're doing a course like Peace Portal where you are going Marianas Trench up to Mount Everest after another, I want to be flooring it down these hills. I'm not like, we're not dancing around the subject. It's kind of like a little mini roller coaster. Like that's my version of a reset when I'm going to the ball.
Right.
Like, help me reset, like get my heart pumping, and then I'll relax when I go to the ball, you know?
Okay. I like that. Okay. That's all I kind of had for golf. So do we want to move on?
Yeah, I'm down to move on. Why don't we wrap it up with are we going to do some NFL draft talk?
Let's just talk about the draft. We need to talk about the draft. The boys were buzzing all last week in terms of picks, what didn't happen, what did. I'm pretty sure a lot of them were actually playing tennis during, which I was actually upset about. So I didn't even put anything in the chat because I'm like, no one's going to reply. So
that was me. I was out there.
Yeah, exactly. Tennis
is equivalent to crack cocaine right now. I will do anything to play it. So I apologize to you for that. But go ahead. Keep going with that.
Okay. So the NFL draft, Saturday night, as we all saw, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson?
Yeah, Zach Wilson, BYU.
Zach Wilson, they go 1-2. Couple picks that I just want to talk about. Trey Lance.
Surprise.
I was honestly kind of shocked by that. Now, my one question, and you may not know this, but did Carson Wentz also go to San Diego State or North Dakota State?
I have no idea about that one. I'll search real quick.
I feel like he did.
Sorry, it was North Dakota State is what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He did go there.
That's the same as Trey Lance. So, I mean, they must be doing something right in that university. But, honestly, I don't really know the book on Lance. And I want to get your take just in terms of big name school quarterbacks going into the pros. Do we like it or do we not like it?
Yeah, that's where, I feel like a lot of my sports knowledge is based around hockey. And I don't want to mean like I only know hockey, but like my logic in terms of is all based around that. Like when we talk about draft picks and we talk about scouting and minor league teams and stuff like that, like the NCAA, whatever, schools, minor leagues, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I've found really hard to get used to other sports. Baseball, the same, basketball, I don't really follow the draft too much, but even like, and football especially, like it's hard to, for example, some things. Devontae Smith wins the Heisman. He's like the third, fourth receiver chosen. And I know why. Like I know the profile put out there on him, but in a sense, he outperformed every receiver on that list. So
yeah,
that part confuses me. Other things like that, where, you get a guy like Trey Lance who clearly has shown good things at a pro day. That's one big thing that you need to acknowledge that changes that is how they perform at the pro day. The whole Zach Wilson, he was not the second overall pick before that. And then, like you said, they're playing at a small school. You're not necessarily playing it's hard for me to grasp what an important game is in the NCAA because I only think it applies to the big schools. But clearly, even for, teams that aren't anywhere near the college football playoff, games are big. I get that. But the amount of pressure doesn't seem the same. But clearly it is because people value that.
I wonder if there's also a sense of, like if you don't play at like an Ohio State or an LSU or an Alabama, that, if you're Trey Lance and you play in, obviously a Div 1 university, but you don't see as much stiff competition, that scouts look at that and they're like, hey, this guy plays on a shitty team, yet with, like obviously below average defense, below average receivers and run game, yet here he is going up against, like weak competition, but he also has weak things to work around.
Totally.
And my one reservation, I was just kind of thinking about this as you were talking, is with quarterbacks or just any player coming out of any big name university that win a lot, they don't know how to lose. Like go like with mentality. Like I guarantee these players coming into the draft were unreal in high school. They probably won multiple state championships and shit. They're consistently ranked top 10 in the FBS. And then they go to like a shitty team with like a bad quarterback. And like they're like, okay, like this is it. This is the team that I'm on. And it's hard to get out of this winning cocky mentality when you play on the Raiders. Like Henry Ruggs III went from Alabama to Las Vegas.
And that's
tough.
That's a good relation to Trevor Lawrence. Like people would say to him, he's only lost 2 games in his life, like something like that.
Like he's lost 2 games at Clemson. Now one was obviously a national championship game, which is
that's huge. Pretty easy to learn how to lose there. But
for sure.
There's a difference between learning how to deal with like a big loss, like the end all be all championship game, where it's like you're kind of you are trying to get better, but mid-season, like you said, being on a 6-6 team, trying to find a way in the playoffs, that's something that these guys have never experienced.
Yeah.
So like that's 100% I agree. Adversity is something these guys lack in terms of being in terms of a team environment. So I got a question. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, who made the worst pick in the top 10? I'm going to go ahead and say the Cincinnati Bengals. How do you let Joe Burrow blow his knee into smithereens and then you draft a receiver and not the tackle? You fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't care the LSU connection, dude. Your quarterback had an inverted knee and you drafted a receiver.
Here's my theory on it though. There's no way that Cincinnati made that pick without at least consulting Joe Burrow. Now I'm not saying Burrow obviously made the pick, but when you have Penei Sewell, because every year that you always have like the best players that fit the team needs, and then you actually have like the best athlete in the draft, and that's Penei Sewell. He's the best athletic guy. He's built, he's muscular, and it always tends to be like a guard or a lineman or a defensive tackle, whatever it is. There's no way that the GM or whoever runs the Bengals didn't go and say, hey, we like Chase or Sewell is going to be on the board. What do you want? And I wonder if Burrow had the confidence to say, look, I don't mind running. I've got a good running game with Joe Mixon. And you give me a receiver to throw to because you lost AJ Green. So now you have Tyler Boyd, and he's not a number one. And now you get someone that he's familiar with.
All right, I see. It's not a flawless situation for sure.
But I also wonder though. I wonder if Joe Burrow goes to the gym and is like, "Hey, look, I don't mind running. I don't mind running. I'm not a pocket passer. I can scramble." His injury was just a freak accident. It's just like a guy landed on him awkwardly. It's not like and most QB injuries are. Whenever you tear an ACL, it's like you just land awkwardly, and
something went wrong.
And we saw it throughout the season. There were so many times when we would see Joe Burrow slide, and they were not good slides. They were not at all. Cam Newton knows how to slide. Kyler Murray knows how to slide. Guys that have probably played baseball that also play football know how to slide. Burrow did not know. Now, obviously, he got sacked. So I can see why they made the pick. I agree with you, though. I think that was dumb as all hell.
Yeah, tough luck.
Yeah. So the other one that I want to talk about is Carolina and Denver both go with corners at 8 and 9. How fucking good are these guys? I don't you can show me game tape on a QB or a wide receiver or running back, and it's easy to evaluate the talent. How the fuck do you evaluate corners' talent? Is it just how well they glue to a receiver?
I think that's got to be one of the positions.
And shit?
That's got to be a pro day evaluation almost exclusively. So much so, how do they get off? How's their first 10 yards? What are their splits in terms of the drills? And any kind of scenario-based drill that allows you to see his IQ. I really think of all the positions, you aren't looking at game tape. You're not really, you're 10% game tape on this position. Because like you said, especially for guys who aren't at big schools, you're not going up against the best receivers in the game. You aren't going up against the best receivers in the game who also don't have the best quarterbacks. So your job is completely different than it will be in the NFL. Yeah. But that's a great point. Those two picks are a bit weird.
I honestly thought, I was pretty surprised that Carolina didn't go with a quarterback. I know they have Sam Darnold, but I don't know. Just not really feeling it with him. Justin Fields, man, to the Bears. I'm actually pumped for Chicago. I think they've never had an elusive quarterback, a true guy that can run. So I'm really excited for that. They overpaid 100%, but when you have a guy like Justin Fields still on the board out of the top 10, you need to get him. You need to.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree. How about looking at the Patriots real quick?
Of course.
Now you at best case scenario for Josh here, because the Dolphins, who'd you get? You guys got Jalen Waddle?
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle. And best case scenario, so you got an impact skill position, and the Patriots drafted a player who's not going to play for them this year. That's probably the best case scenario.
Jones is even getting a look?
I don't think so.
Oh,
mostly, I don't think Jones is getting a look because I think the Patriots are in playoff contention. And I think Cam, I do, we can talk about the bet as much as we want. It's a clear secondary thing here is that I believe the Patriots will make the playoffs. And I think, sure. I guess if they completely stumble and they're 2-12 or 2-10, even 2-6, I do see Mac Jones, but I don't see that happening. So that's why I say it's best case scenario for you. It should give you a bit of hope here, Josh. It's because it's so Patriots to pull it off, but at the same time, this year it won't affect.
You know what I see? I see a very similar situation to what Miami had last year. Fitzmagic and Tua. I think there's going to be certain games where Belichick is hey, you're going in. Just if you're doing well and you have a couple games to spare, if you think you're going to make the playoffs, I think that's when, that's when you will see Mac Jones. Now, I don't really know anything on Mac Jones. I don't think he's the tallest guy. But this needs to be Belichick's redemption here in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe even shorter. He needs to develop another quarterback that they actually took in the first round, because Belichick hasn't had to do that. He doesn't have to do it. He's drafted Brissett. He's drafted Garoppolo, all of which are not first-round quarterbacks. And because he's at Tom Brady, this is his time to actually be like, look, I can develop a guy and make New England better to what they already are.
Did you almost say make New England great again?
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure Robert Kraft is a Trump supporter.
Yeah, hey, give him a label where a label is due, right?
Yeah, exactly. The last two picks, I will say, Travis Etienne going to Clemson, keeping the whole Trevor Lawrence and
going to the Jags.
To the Jags. Is it Travis? Yes, Travis Etienne to the Jags. Fucking keeping Lawrence and him together. That's smart, kind of like the Burrow Chase thing. And then the last one I will say is Najee Harris to Pittsburgh. He is going to be so good in Pittsburgh.
I hope so. I have turned my opinion around quickly. I didn't have one before, but I've now paused. Did you hear the story about how he held his draft party at a homeless shelter that he used to live at?
Really?
Yeah.
Humble guy.
Big ups to that guy. That's how you endear yourself to an entire league right there. That's smart man right there. And just great guy. Some housekeeping real quick. Mac Jones, 6'3", 214 pounds.
Big guy.
I see Mac Jones' first year being like Patrick Mahomes in his first year. I think he started the last game, and obviously showed what he could do in practice and everything like that. I don't think Mac Jones is not going to be Patrick Mahomes in his career, but I think his first year will look similar to that if it goes the way I think it will go, where they're in contention the entire year. Alex Smith is playing. I don't even know what the result of that was. I don't think they made the playoffs with him. And here you have maybe the Patriots don't make the playoffs, but I think he's not getting in more than 2 games if it goes the way it's supposed to go.
Okay. I like it. Good take. Okay. Mm-hmm. Is that it?
That's all I got, man. That's all I got for you today. Class dismissed, Josh. That's it, bud. Fuck yeah. DraftKings promo code THPN. Do you have anything else you want to close off with? Anything funny?
No.
All right.
Other than my golf game shit, I will keep everyone updated on my next round.
Hey, you know what? I hate to take gratification in misery, but Josh, I feel rejuvenated that I can beat you again. I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah.
Maybe anything's possible.
No, seriously. If you catch me on an off day, I'm easily beatable. But if you catch me when I'm on, you're not going to even come within a sniff.
The last thing I'll say on this podcast is that I am looking for the biggest reason I'm looking forward to shooting the 80s is because I feel like at that point, the bottom of my game is above the hundreds. Like the meltdowns are in the 90s, but clearly
that's what I said.
That might not be the case. Yeah. Because that's what I would have been excited for as I was a 92. I'd be like, oh, maybe my bad round's a 99 now.
Yeah. Sure. No chance.
All right, dude. Take it easy, man.